Learning 3 is take a three-pronged approach to people. So prong number 1 is stay on top of the morale of the people and the health of the people. I'll use winery.ph as an example here, the e-commerce site that does wine delivery throughout the Philippines. In the early days of the lockdown, with the rumor of liquor bans coming in, the orders went through the roof. We had, I think, a tripling of orders. So our operations team was really stressed and was working long hours to fulfill the orders. Let's layer on top of that some more stress. There were police checkpoints put up at all the different crossings between the cities. And our drivers were finding various levels of extortion at various checkpoints. It could be things as small as, well, give me your extra face mask. Or it could be, I'm going to turn you around and not let you deliver your goods in the city unless you pay me something or unless you give me something. So this raises the stress level even further on the workforce. During the Easter week, we did a lockdown. So we stopped operations for a week, helped us with some restocking, also gave our tired people a break. That was a very sensible management decision. So prong number 1, stay on top of your team, react to that, give them a break, give them overtime pay, give them what they need. The second thing is about flex. Now here, there's 2 parts to this. And again, I'll use winery.ph as the example. So there have been days where we've had 3 times the normal number of orders. There have been days, particularly as the liquor bans have crept in now across 15 of the 17 cities, where orders have dropped to below normal levels. So some days we're through the roof busy, some days we're very quiet. So the founder had an upfront discussion with the workforce around, we're going to need to flex, guys. Some days will be very quiet, and I'm not going to need everyone, I'm not going to need everybody's hours. Some days we're going to be ridiculously busy, and I'm going to need overtime. So can we agree up front that you're willing to flex so that we can meet the demand of our customers? And then the second part of the flex is, we have some excellent people working in our HoReCa channel, so hotels, restaurants, corporate accounts. That had a very good January, a very good February, and was on track for a good March when all this hit. And now, of course, our sales are absolutely zero. So we've got some great people working in that channel, but what can they do? There is no one to sell or market to. So take that talent, redeploy it to other parts of the business. Or take it from full-time to part-time, but keep on paying on a part-time basis. So that's the second prong, flex the workforce. The third one, the simplest one, is cut the low performers. If you've been dithering around, oh, well, should we give Jim another chance? No. Giving Jim another chance versus your business surviving another month, that can be the decision that you're making. So learning 3 was take a 3-prong approach to people. Learning 4 was you can find opportunity in crisis. And I'll give you 3 examples. So one is Transfera here, data analytics, real-time KPI company. Lots of data out on COVID-19, sometimes very hard to decipher it and understand. So Transfera took their core competence in data analytics and presenting KPIs in a very easy to understand way and slicing things in different ways to understand better, and applied that to COVID-19 data. They've now got a COVID-19 dashboard of using all the data that's available from Johns Hopkins, WHO, etc., and it's so much easier to understand. Second example, I'll use 3D Metal Forge over here, additive manufacturer for oil and gas and marine. So with COVID-19 breaking out in China, suppression of the truth, deception on the numbers and the widespread nature of the infection, and then the kind of spilling out to the rest of the world, some of our large oil and gas customers and companies that had not been customers but now have become them have said, we do not like the fact that we're manufacturing quite a lot in China. We have very extended supply chains. 3D, can you do additive manufacturing of critical parts, critical spares for us here in Houston at your new facility? Third example, I'll use winery.ph again. So we started off with Australian wines, then added, I think we've got 16 other countries now. We've got about 400 SKUs of wine. We then added craft beer and imported beers to that, and we had planned to add specialty food, because oftentimes when you're buying a wine or a specialty beer, you want some specialty food with that too. Now, we hadn't planned to do it quite this quickly, but we took advantage of the crisis to add food now. So as people were stuck in their houses, trying to get things delivered, or one person only being allowed to go out and pick up food, we actually can deliver your wine, your craft beer, and some specialty food to you as well. So again, finding opportunity in a time of crisis. The fifth learning is avoid the sunk cost fallacy. Now, as any economics nerd like me will know, when you've already invested money in a project or a company, there is a tendency to put more in because you don't want it to fail. You don't want that money to go to waste, but that's a fallacy. You should never make a decision about additional investment based on what's gone before. You should be saying on the incremental dollar, do I invest or not? Now, one of the companies in my portfolio, Forcepack Engineering, was struggling even before COVID-19 happened, and now is, imagine, teetering on bankruptcy. Now, there's an opportunity for those of us who have invested both in equity and in debt of the company to re-inject capital for a greater share of the equity of the company, to go from about the 20-odd% we own now to something closer to 40-45%. Now, if this was a viable ongoing concern, that would be quite attractive. But it's not, and frankly, those of us on the outside investors have lost confidence in the management, who have shown themselves to be very slow to react to change, unwilling to take help or advice from outside, and incapable of managing the financials tightly. As I said, learning 5, avoid the sunk cost fallacy. So those have been my 5 major learnings from this COVID-19 pandemic. I know we're starting very gradually to come out of it in the Philippines. I don't have a lot of confidence that we won't have a second wave because it has been handled extremely poorly by our government. But anyway, stay safe, stay sane out there. I hope this was helpful to you angel investors and others.